So Inside Out 2 is the newest Pixar movie that has just been released by Disney. It is the sequel to the 2015 Pixar movie Inside Out. So almost a decade, everybody, since the first Inside Out came out. Wow, I just realized something. Like, when you name these, how long it's been since a movie came out, and then then its sequel just came out this year, God, it makes you just feel old, doesn't it? So Inside Out 2 takes maybe about a year or a year and a half after the first Inside Out movie. I mean, Inside Out ended when Riley was 12, and then it picks up again when she's 13, though she didn't just turn 13 right away at the beginning of the movie. But things have changed for her, and, she's reaching those teenage years, and she's going through the big moment in her life, of course, we all know it, puberty. I feel like there's every kid and parents are thinking like there's a moment in their lives where they hear
diagnosis? Puberty.
Whoa, what?
Yeah, and they get that kind of reaction. But also, it's interesting how the mechanics play with the main emotions of this movie. Of course, I'm talking about joy, anger, disgust, and fear. And then when this happens, everything goes out of whack for them. Their console board's not working. It turns everything up to 11. And it's so everything they do, she just flips out about everything. And I really like that mechanic. And of course, when this happens, there are new emotions that come in. Of course, we've seen them in the trailer, referring to, of course, anxiety, embarrassment, envy, and ennui, which is, of course, boredom. And they are now there to help the original emotions that we all know from the first movie, help Riley get through these years, of course. I will say, this movie really surprised me. It's not real. I was expecting, of course, change, and of course, because of these new emotions and the time Riley is in, there was going to be change, and the new emotions being there were supposed to help them get through this change. And it's only later that I find out that these new emotions don't really want, in a way, they want to help, but more so, they actually want to take over. They want to push the old emotions out and try to change Riley completely. That is their idea of helping her. So, props to them for actually keeping it kind of vague, because I don't want any spoilers. And also, of course, I'm not going to give any spoilers about the movie for people who want to go see it. This is the movie I would say really actually didn't have an antagonist in a way, because we've seen from the trailer that the new emotions come in ready to work with the old emotions, especially anxiety with her high energy and everything, coming in there to, do what everyone else has been doing since the first movie, and that's make Riley into the best person she could be. Now, of course, they don't agree at first, and that's what, of course, causes the uprising and the new emotions take over. But they feel like they're doing it all for Riley's sake, saying that she's changing. And that's essentially what the message of this movie is that everybody changes. And that eventually it's that fear of change, or that fear of the unknown when you change, that could possibly steer you or turn you into somebody you're not. So, that fear of being left out is what really plays on in this movie, of course, with the old emotions trying to make sure Riley stays who she is, even though she's going through this moment, and the new emotions who believe that she needs to become a little bit of a different person in order to move on in life. So, it's really the counterintuitive, and the feeling is that everybody can kind of relate to this movie. Now, I'm being serious here. This is without a doubt the definition of a family movie. If you want the definition of a family movie, this is probably one of those movies that you would probably see in the dictionary. It will relate to kids for the fun and adventure. It will relate to people who are, going through that point, and also to adults as well. But the real interesting thing is that the way people will see it. Now, of course, a little kid watches it, they're going to love the adventure and everything that's going on, and how, they're stopping these bad guys, from taking over their person. And then, of course, you look at somebody who's, say, maybe 15, and they are going to see a whole new different thing, oh my God, this is exactly what I'm going through. Whereas to someone who is now in their 30s or 40s, and they see it, and they're like, oh my God, I remember that. It's was I like that when I was that young, it plays on that very well. And every person who sees it is going to see a different message being played. I mean, there are so many messages in this movie. I mean, I saw so many, I really didn't know. But I mean, like I said, this movie is about change. It's about the things that you go through during that time of change, like, moving on to the next step in your life, of course. There's pain, there's turmoil in this process. And of course, that all is what could make Riley a better person, which is something the emotions have to learn. They can't just, base everything off what they see and how they feel and just make it so they can turn Riley into somebody, they want her to be, or turn her into somebody she's not, or think that, oh, this is bad, we can't let her have this. Everything that happens in her life will help make her the best person she can be. All the pain, the turmoil, it all helps her in the end, and that's something they have to understand. Overall, Inside Out 2, I enjoyed this movie to the fullest from start to finish. I'm giving Inside Out 2 an A. Without a doubt, probably one of the best sequels Disney has made in a long time. Alright, well, if you guys have seen Inside Out 2, please comment here down below what your thoughts were on it. Also, if you like my other content, please check out more here, and always remember to stay epic!